When someone comes and has a session with you, should they expect a 1 hour experience, or do you give them, sort of a little more leeway depending on what's needed? But I'm sure that that you're very booked and that your time is.
Actually, I try not to work that way, because I find that once we're sort of in the process, pretty amazing things can unfold. And I don't run way over, but I like to have a little bit of room there to honor the process that's happening. So the first time I see someone, I tell them that ideally for me is 90 minutes. I can work with 75, and if an hour is all that they really feel comfortable with, great, that's what we'll do. Yes. So I just say what I would really like, ideally, which is that 90 minutes. And then after that, when I've worked with someone sort of consistently several times, then we make a lot of movement forward, and then it doesn't need to be so long. Then an hour session often is fine. But sometimes then there's emotional processing to be done, and that's a different kind of work, and that can take up to 2 hours to kind of really work with some core emotional issues and get movement and unraveling to happen. So.
How often do you find that someone has come to you and they've been diagnosed, whatever the medical diagnosis may be, and what you're finding is something completely different? Completely different. Do you find that at all, or do you find that many times it's spot on and that's all that needs to be addressed?
Unfortunately, our medical world tends to look at the body like it's a machine. So they think, okay, we're just going to go and we'll fix this cog and then everything will be okay. But until the source of why that wasn't working properly is discovered, usually it will pop up somewhere else in the system. So what I find, if anything, is that it's not addressing the root or the source or the big picture, really. And that the tendency is to either medicate the symptom. That's the biggest thing I find, is let's medicate the symptom. And then the person still doesn't feel right. They don't feel okay. They're really not getting better, and then they're taking another medication. Well, often when somebody's system is out of whack, they have reactions to medications. It doesn't mean they're getting hives and having anaphylactic shock, but they're having sensitivities, and they're taking these things that really are often causing them problems. But there's no other solution really being offered. Except to medicate the problem rather than go down to the source and actually heal it at the root.
And that's what you focus on, is finding the source and healing it from the root.
And I do a lot of referring.
Hold on. Action.
So I refer a lot to the alternative healthcare community. And I refer to an MD who does a lot of alternative work. When people want to work their insurance, or they're more comfortable there. But, I don't try to be everything. I'm just what I am. I'm sort of a body detective. That's what a friend of mine calls me, is you're the body detective. And so that's really great. I can source out that problem, and then I refer it over to someone who can deal with it more medically.
That's wonderful.
And then I do a lot of support for people, because doing alternative work takes a lot of being very proactive. And when you're not feeling well, that can be hard to do.
Absolutely. I did want to ask you if you work on children. I'm assuming that most of your clients would be adults, and that's just an assumption I'm making right now, but do you also work on our younger people?
That's right. When I do work with kids, it's usually kids that are a little bit older, not the little guys, because they just don't stay still, right? The kind of work that I'm going to be doing with hands-on. It is wonderful to help a newborn unwind after their birthing experience, to wind out the birth out of their body and their spine. That's really delightful. But usually they're a little older, because then they can interact with me.
And it is an interaction. It
It's
absolutely is.
very much, very collaborative effort.
Well, Megan, thank you so much for today. I think that we've gotten a lot of information about what exactly a medical intuitive is and how we can incorporate people like you into our lives, and it's not exactly you. Please tell us how we can reach you.
Okay, wonderful. I have a website, www.body-whisperer.com.
Wonderful.
And then my phone numbers, is that appropriate?
Yes.
Okay, great. 801-710-4578.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Megan. This has been lovely. I'm Wendi Eckstein, and this has been Soul Fair Television.